All we need to do is not get absolutely battered, and I'll be happy. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And it is time, it's finally here, the Club World Cup final against PSG. Oh no. Honestly, like I said in my intro, man, all I really want out of this game is to not get slapped up, and I'll walk away with it being like, okay, it wasn't so bad. But no, do you know what? There is a chance we could win this game because it's Chelsea. Yes, we might be the underdogs, but we've got some magic on our own team. And at the end of the day, football's football, you never know what's going to happen. Oh my God, I've been going like 2 minutes. I'm sweating already. It's so hot today. So let's talk about PSG a little bit and what makes them so dangerous. PSG have had a phenomenal season. Now, yes, they won the league, but they kind of always win the league, right? It's a bit of a Bayern Munich situation. Liga is not exactly the most competitive of leagues overall. Occasionally, you get the odd team that comes in and nips it, like Monaco that year or Lille some years prior. But for the most part, it's kind of expected that PSG are going to walk the league. But they did it. They finally did it. PSG won the Champions League for the first time in their history, and they were incredible. Current manager Luis Enrique had a really difficult job to do because when he took over, they were going through that transitional period where they'd just come from Neymar and Messi and Sergio Ramos. They were putting together this who's who of footballing celebrity superstars and expecting them all to play well on a pitch together. Now, that didn't work. They won a few leagues, but they always faltered in the Champions League, and ultimately that is what they've been aiming for. So Luis Enrique has come in, torn up the book completely, and built a brand new squad with an excellent mix of youth, experience, attacking fluidity, defensive solidity, pressing, energy, and aggression, and they are frightening. It is zero surprise to anyone that PSG have found themselves in this final. It is a surprise to some of us that Chelsea have found ourselves in this final. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. If Chelsea win this competition, we are not the best team in the world. Although we will literally have a print on our shirts for the next 4 years until the next competition that says that. The only reason we're in this competition is because we'd recently won the Champions League with Thomas Tuchel, and since then we've not exactly been pulling in hordes of silverware every season, have we? When you look at it, it's just not fair, is it? In order to get here, PSG have had to play Atletico Madrid, who they battered, Bayern Munich, who they beat despite having players sent off, and Real Madrid, who they just pummeled 4-0. It was like Madrid weren't even trying. But yeah, in comparison, arguably our most well-known opponent was Benfica. And you'd have to think PSG probably would have smashed Benfica as well, wouldn't they? So it's a really weird thing that we're here in the first place, right? But we are here. The game is in front of us and we've got to play it to win it. So let's talk about what we can expect from PSG. Luis Enrique has crafted an absolute machine in PSG. They play with a really, really high press and are so dangerous on quick transitions and turnovers. And as well as that, they've got a dynamic, robust midfield who are also excel at quick passing and just making things happen out of nowhere. There's a couple of stalwarts like Hakimi at right back. They seem to play a bit of this inverted fullback thing that we do as well, so it will be interesting to come up against another team that does that. And they've got an amazing concept in their front three. They do not play with an archetypal striker. Instead, they normally put Dembele up there, who scored 34 goals last season, by the way. And rather than having definite starters every time, they've got like 3 or 4 different wingers that they can pull on. In Kvaratskhelia and Bradley Barcola and Desiree Doué. And all of these guys come in and perform just as well as each other. They've also got Ramos, who can feature in that number 9 spot as well. And they just seem set up for lots of different situations. If one of their front three's out, they've set themselves up so it's not really a problem. And speaking of players out, there are maybe some tiny little mercies that we can look at. So defender Pacho and Lucas Hernandez are not available for the game, being that they're serving 2 match bans for their suspensions against Bayern Munich. And also pivotal midfielders João Neves will also not be able to feature in the game. And I think that's also because of card and disciplinary stuff. So being that we've actually got the majority of our full squad available to us, maybe we can make something happen. But even so, with a few of those missing players, they still got Luis Enrique, who has won a treble with Barcelona and got PSG their first ever Champions League trophy. So whatever happens and whoever makes it on the pitch, this is going to be the single most difficult game that Enzo Maresca and pretty much any of the players in this team have faced, maybe bar Reece James. So am I feeling good about it? No. Do I think we can win? Possibly. Chelsea do have a few players out ourselves. I think Romeo Lavia is still missing from injury and Badiashile still seems to not be available. But Moises Caicedo has been seen training on the pitch with the team at the Club World Cup in the run-up to this game. So despite getting an injury in the last game, if we are really lucky, then we might have him for this. And if we've got any chance of winning this game, then you know Moises Caicedo is going to be pivotal. So let's take a little look at my predicted lineup for the game against PSG in the Club World Cup final. And it's that time again. We start with the goalkeeper, and it's just Rob Sanchez, isn't it? And you know what? I really feel like this might be an awful game for Sanchez. They play such a high line, and in his worst moment, Sanchez struggles to make decisions, right? So if Sanchez has got the ball and he's thinking, do I do a short pass or do I go for a long pass? And he has one of his little moments that he forgets that he's playing a game of football and has an important decision to make, PSG might make that decision for him because their high press is dangerous. And I'm not going to lie, I think this is the one thing I'm really, really worried about. I'm not saying we can go toe-to-toe with PSG in general. This feels like an obvious weakness, and I feel like they will be told to exploit it. I've got a feeling Sanchez's less than stellar confidence when it comes to goalkeeping might well be targeted in this game, and that is something we're going to have to watch out for. But we just don't have any other choices, do we? Mike Penders hasn't played. Jorgensen has only played one game against Esperance, and it was a rotational game, and none of the other guys we've got have had any minutes, so there's just no point in even taking the risk, really, is there? So, right back, Reece James did actually feature in the last game, despite having that little injury worry at the start of the Palmeiras game, where he pulled out of the warm-up. So, for me, Reece James goes in right back. There's just no messing around here, is there? I know Malagusto's looked like he's been playing well recently, but we've just got to put our best foot forward, and because we have the majority of our team available to us, we have to get all of our best players on, and Malagusto can do a job maybe against a team that we can exploit, but I don't think this is the game for Gusto. This is the game for Reece James. At right centre-back, I'm going to put Trevor Chalobah because, do you know what? For me, in general, he's had the better performance between him and Tosin throughout the tournament. Tosin's been good and got that goal, but I think Trevor Chalobah just looks a bit more assured and a bit more ready at the moment. Left centre-back, and he's back, it's Levi Colwill. Tosin did an admirable job deputising for Levi Colwill in the Fluminense game, but there's no question about whether Levi Colwill's going to come back and play in this game, is there? He's our best left-sided centre-back. He's key to the balance of the team. He's familiar, and to give us our best chance of winning, it's going to have to be him that plays. And the left-back spot writes itself. It's the fiery Marc Cucurella. With Reece James featuring at right-back, you could expect maybe Cucurella to play a bit more of that advanced number 8/number 10 position that he sometimes plays. But a back three of Reece James, Trevor Chalobah, and Levi Colwill feels pretty solid to me, which could give Marc Cucurella a license to push forward and try and busy up that midfield to kind of cut some of their passing lanes and make things a bit more difficult for them. So let's have a look at the first role in the double pivot, and for me, it's Moises Caicedo. Providing that he's okay. I think he is. He's been training. The injury didn't sound like it was too serious. We'll find out more soon. If you know what's going to happen. If Caicedo isn't available, then we're going to see Reece James or Gusto in that midfield spot. But I think he will be, and if he is, he's just on the pitch because he's that good. And like I said, if we are going to have any chance of winning this game, Caicedo's got to start. And in the next role, for me, it's Enzo Fernandez. We've actually got some interesting options for our attacking front three, so I don't think we need to push Enzo Fernandez into that number 10 role this time. Cole Palmer's been slowly getting back to his best self playing in that centre role, and Enzo Fernandez from deep is capable of pulling out moments of magic, great vision, long passing. All of those things might be useful in a game where they're going to create space behind them because they press so high. If we're going to have any chance of exploiting PSG's famed high press, then I think Enzo Fernandez is a must. Okay, so for the attacking midfield three, I'm going to start in the centre, and it's Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer has been slowly getting back to his best. He was unbelievable in the Palmeiras game, and he had a good showing in the last game as well. Aside from anything else, Cole Palmer is just capable of a moment of magic, and in such a big game against such a well-drilled team, a player like Cole Palmer could literally be the turning point that gets us the win if it's possible. On the right-hand side, I'm going to put in Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto looked really good in the last game. He was linking up really well with new signing João Pedro. Although it was on the left, we all know that Pedro Neto does a great job on the right too. I hope he's feeling okay after the tragedy that he's been through, but he's easily one of our most reliable and increasingly one of our most consistent players. He scored 3 goals in the tournament so far, so if he's feeling good in himself, then he's normally playing pretty well on the pitch. And I don't really want to see Nkunku out there again, if I'm being completely honest. And on the left-hand side, I'm going to go with a bit of a rogue shout, and I'm going to say João Pedro. Whoa, that's crazy you say. João Pedro scored 2 goals from the number 9 spot in the last game. Yes, I know. But with Madueke having one foot out of the door in the Arsenal situation, Christopher Nkunku not really being here for quite a while, despite his goal against Benfica, which was pivotal, we can't just put Christopher Nkunku on because he might score a goal at some point. We need someone who can connect the rest of the game together and actually facilitate the way that we want to play. I wasn't a big fan of seeing Christopher Nkunku on that right side last time. Although Pedro Neto did really well on the left, it didn't work for me. So for me, it's João Pedro on the left. Because he's such a versatile player, he can swap with Cole Palmer, he can swap with Pedro Neto. PSG have got an amazingly fluid front three, and it makes them unpredictable. So maybe we can try some of that unpredictable nature with a really versatile attacking midfield of João Pedro on the left, Cole Palmer in the middle, and Pedro Neto on the right. And up top, I am going to put Liam Delap. I was really wrestling with this. Initially, I was like, okay, it just feels like it makes a lot of sense to put João Pedro up top because he played so well against Fluminense. But you look at João Pedro's heat maps, man. He can play anywhere all over the pitch, even from the striker position. He drops deep, he drifts wide, he swaps with people. Arguably, the first goal that he scored against Fluminense was from a kind of left wing position. He was pretty deep and he just took a shot and it went in. And with Liam Delap up top, maybe there's some possibility to exploit that high press, play with his back to goal and allow people like João Pedro to make darting runs and try and get a goal. At the end of the day, for me, it was either Liam Delap up top and João Pedro on the left, or João Pedro up top and Christopher Nkunku on the left. Or the right swap with Pedro, whatever. And he's going to be hungry after missing that last game and also seeing João Pedro come in and play really well. Liam Delap's got a little bit of something to prove and that really could help us in this game. And like I said before, man, I'm just not rating seeing Christopher Nkunku on the pitch at the moment. I think if we're down and there's like one goal needed in it and we're quite, we're like 70 minutes in or something, then yeah, sound, bring Nkunku on because he can be a game changer. But in terms of relying on someone to, like I say, connect the play together and facilitate a style of play, Jesus, it's so hot in this room. I think I'd like to see Liam Delap take that number 9 spot and have João Pedro coming in off the left. So that's it. That is my maybe a little bit cavalier predicted 11 for the game against PSG in the Club World Cup final. So tell me what you think, guys. Am I being too risky? Am I playing it too safe? Are PSG going to absolutely batter us regardless of who we put out there because they're PSG and they just look like they're unstoppable? I'm not holding out high hopes for this game. Honestly, like I said at the start of the video, if we don't get battered like Real Madrid did and we come out with like a 2-1 or even a 2-0 or something like that, just not absolutely embarrassed, I'll be able to walk away from this game and be like, okay, well, do you know what? We played the Champions League holders who have come off an amazing season and we did what we could to go toe-to-toe with them. If we can just not be embarrassed, I think that is something positive that we can take away from this game. And yeah, I guess that shows how much my expectations have dropped as a Chelsea fan in recent years. I always just try and be objective though, right? If PSG win this, I think you could quite comfortably call them the champions of the world because they've had an unbelievable season. They've won the Champions League, and to win this on the back of that, getting through Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich and PSG on the way to us, yeah, fair. But if we win this, I'd be really happy. It'd be a great trophy to have in our cabinet, but having to beat 3 Brazilian teams and Benfica on the way to this final isn't exactly the same, is it? So of course I'll be a little bit disappointed if we don't win, but ultimately I just want it to be close. I just want to see our young team go out there and go up against some champions and see what we can do. Because if we can hold our own in this game, that in itself is really promising for next season. It will show you not just about Maresca's tactics and strategy, it will show you about his man management. Can he inspire this group of youngsters to go out and take on the current Champions League holders? That's what I really want to see. So that's it, guys. If you are enjoying the content, please do me the distinct honour of liking or sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments because I am already roasting here, so what's a little bit more heat, right? I will have something a little bit special coming out either tomorrow or later today, depending on when you're watching this video, but it's going to be more content pertaining to the Club World Cup final and I'm really excited about it. So nice one, guys. Thank you for sticking around until the end of the video. I hope you're having a wicked day. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I want to see your starting 11s. I want you to tell me if I am being hyperbolic, if I'm being too objective, not objective enough. What do you think, guys? This is actually a pretty big event, so it only feels right that we all have a little chat about it. Have yourselves a wicked day. I'll catch up with you real soon. Let's go and do this. Peace.